The morning started like any other day on Luna Base 7. Commander Jake Morrison was drinking his coffee when the alarms began screaming. He dropped his cup and ran to the command center. What he saw on the screens made his blood freeze. Huge, alien ships appeared out of nowhere near Earth's moon. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built. Dark metal hulls stretched for miles, covered in weapons that glowed with deadly energy. The ships looked like floating cities of death. "Sir, we're getting signals from all our bases," said Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez. Her hands shook as she worked the controls. "Something big is coming." Jake grabbed the radio. "All stations, this is Morrison. Report your status." The answers came fast and scared. Europa Station saw the same ships. Mars Colony spotted them too. Even the small mining outposts in the asteroid belt were sending warnings. The aliens had come in force and they surrounded Earth's entire system. On the alien flagship, Commander Vexthar looked at the human settlements with cold eyes. His people, the Zephyrians, had watched these humans for 3 years. They seemed weak and stupid. Their ships moved slowly. Their weapons were simple. Perfect targets for a demonstration. "Begin the attack," Vexthar ordered. "Show the galaxy what happens to those who dare expand into our territory." The first blast hit Luna Base 7 without warning. Bright red energy. Beams cut through the station's walls like paper. Jake watched in horror as sections of his home exploded into space. People he had known for years were gone in seconds. "Get everyone to the escape pods," he shouted. But more beams were coming. The alien weapons moved with perfect aim, hitting every important target. Power plants exploded. Life support systems failed. The base began to break apart. Captain Lisa Grant was on Europa Station when the attack reached them. She saw the destruction of Luna Base 7 on her screens and knew her station would be next. Europa Station housed 2,000 people, including families with children. "All civilians to the evacuation ships now," Lisa ordered. Her crew moved fast, but the alien ships were already getting closer. Lisa could see them through the station windows, huge and dark against the stars. The alien fighters arrived first. Small, fast ships that moved like angry insects. They fired at everything that moved. Lisa's security teams tried to fight back, but their weapons barely scratched the alien hulls. "The transport ships are loaded," reported her second officer, Ben Clark. "But we need more time to get everyone out." "We don't have more time," Lisa said, watching the alien fighters circle closer. "Take what we can and go. I'll hold them off." Lisa's ship, the Defiant, was a small patrol vessel with light weapons. Against the alien fighters, it should have been destroyed in minutes. But Lisa knew every trick in the book. She used the station's structure for cover, darting between the metal beams and power conduits. The alien pilots were good, but they had never fought humans before. They expected their enemies to follow standard military tactics. Lisa did not follow any rules. She flew straight at them, making them think she was going to ram their ships. At the last second, she would spin away and hit them from behind. For 20 minutes, Lisa kept the aliens busy while the evacuation ships escaped. Her ship took hit after hit, but she refused to give up. Finally, a lucky shot crippled her engines. The Defiant began to drift toward Europa Station's gravity well. "That's enough heroics for one day," Lisa muttered, firing her escape thrusters. The damaged ship limped away from Europa Station just as the aliens turned their main weapons on it. The station vanished in a ball of fire. Back on Earth, Admiral Morrison watched the destruction from his command ship. In 6 hours, the aliens had destroyed every human settlement outside Earth's orbit. 50,000 people were dead. The message was clear: surrender or die. President Helen Carter stood in the emergency bunker beneath Washington. Reports came in from around the world. The aliens had not attacked Earth directly, but their meaning was obvious. They wanted Earth's leaders to see what would happen if humans refused to give up. "Madam President," said General Kate Phillips, "we're receiving a transmission from the alien fleet." The alien commander appeared on screen. Vexthar looked like a giant lizard walking on 2 legs. His eyes were cold and yellow. When he spoke, his voice sounded like grinding metal. "Humans of Earth," Vexthar said, I am Commander Vexthar of the Zephyrian Empire. You have seen our power. Your pathetic defenses are destroyed. You have 30 of your days to surrender completely. Give up all weapons. Accept our rule. If you refuse, we will turn your planet into dust. The transmission ended. The room fell, silent. Everyone looked at President Carter, waiting for her decision. Helen Carter was 60 years old. She had been a teacher before becoming a politician. She had never wanted to be a war leader. But as she looked at the faces around her, she saw something that made her heart strong. Fear, yes, but also anger. The aliens had killed innocent people, including children. They expected humans to crawl and beg for mercy. Get me a connection to every leader on Earth, Helen said quietly, and open a channel to every human settlement, every ship, every station that's still alive. When the connections were ready, Helen Carter stood up straight and looked directly into the camera. My fellow humans, she began, her voice steady and clear. They came to our home without warning. They murdered our people without cause. They think we will surrender because we are afraid. Helen paused, letting her words sink in. They are wrong. We are afraid, yes, but we are also human. And humans do not surrender to bullies. We do not bow to murderers. They wanted to make an example of us. Instead, they have made the greatest mistake in galactic history. They have shown us exactly what we are fighting for. Around the world, humans listened to their president's words. On damaged ships limping back to Earth, survivors clenched their fists. In underground bunkers, scientists began sketching new weapon designs. In military bases, soldiers checked their equipment with new purpose. The Zephyrians had struck first, expecting quick victory. Instead, they had awakened something they could never understand. A species that grew stronger when cornered, deadlier when threatened, and absolutely unstoppable when fighting for survival. The war had begun, and humanity would make sure it ended on their terms. Dr. Alex Murphy had not slept in 3 days. His eyes were red and his hands shook from too much coffee, but he could not stop working. Around him, the Terra Military Research Division hummed with activity. Scientists and engineers worked on pieces of alien technology recovered from the destroyed stations. Look at this, said Dr. Carol Thompson, holding up a twisted piece of metal. This is from their fighter's hull. It's strong, but it has a weakness. Alex studied the alien metal under his microscope. The structure was unlike anything humans had made, but it followed rules that made sense. More importantly, when he tested it with different energy frequencies, he found something interesting. Their shields work by deflecting energy in a specific pattern, Alex explained to his team. But if we hit them with rapid pulses instead of steady beams, the shields can't keep up. This was exactly the kind of information Admiral Morrison needed. Every piece of alien wreckage told a story. Every broken weapon revealed a secret. The Zephyrians had better technology, but they had made their equipment to fight enemies who thought like them. Humans did not think like Zephyrians. General Kate Phillips ran the biggest military operation in human history. Every factory on Earth switched to making weapons and ships. Car companies started building missile launchers. Computer firms designed new targeting systems. Even toy makers helped by creating small drones for reconnaissance. We need to think differently, Kate told her staff officers. They have bigger ships and stronger weapons, so we don't fight them ship to ship. We swarm them like angry bees. The plan was simple but dangerous. Instead of building a few large warships, humans would make hundreds of small, fast ships. Each one would carry just enough firepower to damage an alien vessel. Working together, they could overwhelm any enemy. Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks led the ship design teams. His new vessels looked nothing like traditional spacecraft. They were small, angular, and built for speed and stealth. Most importantly, they could be built fast and cheap. We're not trying to win a beauty contest, Ryan explained to his workers. These ships have one job: get close to the aliens and hurt them before they can react. The new ships had names like Wasp, Hornet, and Stinger. Each one was piloted by volunteers who knew they might not come home. But after seeing the destruction of Luna Base 7 and Europa Station, there was no shortage of people willing to fight. Captain Sam Collins commanded a special type of ship called Shadow Runner. It was designed to be almost invisible to alien sensors. Sam's job was to sneak close to Zephyrian ships and learn everything about them. Sam had been a smuggler before the war, running supplies to mining stations in the outer system. He knew every asteroid and every hiding place between Earth and Pluto. Now he used those skills to spy on the aliens. "They're confident," Sam reported after his first mission. "Too confident. They think we're beaten already. Their ships are spread out in small groups. They're not expecting an attack." This information was golden. The Zephyrians had positioned their fleet throughout the solar system, but they were not defending against human tactics. They expected humans to come at them in straight lines, following military rules. They had no idea what humans could do when they stopped following rules. Meanwhile, Captain Amy Rodriguez worked with the asteroid miners to prepare surprises for the aliens. The belt was full of rocks that could be turned into weapons. With the right equipment, even a small asteroid could destroy a large ship if it hit at the right speed. "We're going to turn the whole solar system into a weapon," Amy told her crews. "Every rock, every piece of debris, everything becomes ammunition." The miners were some of the toughest people in space. They spent months alone in tiny ships blasting apart asteroids for precious metals. They knew how to make explosions in zero gravity. They knew how to move massive objects with minimal equipment. Most importantly, they were angry about the attack on their friends and families. As the 30-day deadline approached, humans worked with desperate energy. Sleep became a luxury. Meals were eaten while working. Every person on Earth understood that failure meant extinction. Dr. Murphy made breakthrough after breakthrough in understanding alien technology. The Zephyrian weapons were powerful but predictable. Their ships were fast but followed specific movement patterns. Their communications used frequencies that humans could jam. "They're like a very advanced but very rigid machine," Alex explained to President Carter. "They do everything perfectly, but they can't adapt when something unexpected happens." President Carter visited every major facility, encouraging the workers and checking on progress. She saw welders working around the clock to finish new ships. She saw pilots training for missions they might not survive. She saw children helping their parents build equipment for the war effort. "How many ships will we have ready?" Helen asked Admiral Morrison. 437 combat vessels," Morrison replied, "plus about 200 support ships. It's not much compared to their fleet, but it's what we have." Helen nodded. The numbers were not encouraging, but she had seen the determination in people's eyes. Humans had built an entire war machine in 30 days. Ships that should have taken years to design were flying in weeks. Weapons that existed only in theory were being mounted on hulls. The aliens had given humans a month to surrender. Instead, humans had used that month to transform themselves into something the galaxy had never seen, a species preparing for total war. On the 29th day, Captain Lisa Grant returned to duty. Her ship, the Defiant, had been repaired and upgraded with new weapons based on alien technology. Lisa had spent weeks in the hospital, but she refused to miss the coming battle. "The aliens taught us something important," Lisa told her crew. "They showed us that we're not alone in the universe, and they showed us that some of our neighbors are bullies who need to be stopped." Around the solar system, human ships moved into position. They hid in asteroid fields, behind moon shadows, and in the darkness between worlds. Each ship carried a crew that had lost friends or family in the initial attack. Each captain had studied the alien tactics and planned responses. Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship, Terra's Pride. The ship had been rebuilt with the best technology humans could create. It carried weapons designed specifically to fight Zephyrians. Most importantly, it carried a crew that was ready to die rather than surrender. "Tomorrow they come expecting our surrender," Morrison told his officers. "Instead, we're going to give them a lesson in human nature they'll never forget." As the 30th day dawned, the Zephyrian fleet began moving toward Earth. Commander Vexthar expected to receive humanity's surrender and begin the process of enslaving a new species. He had done this 47 times before with other worlds, but humans were not like other species. Other races had surrendered when faced with overwhelming force. Humans had used their time to prepare for the impossible. a war they could not win by conventional means. The awakening was complete. Humanity had looked into the face of extinction and decided to fight back. They had 30 days to prepare for the most important battle in their history. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humans could do when they refused to give up. On the 31st day, Commander Vexthar led his fleet toward Earth. He expected to find human ships waiting with white flags of surrender. Instead, space appeared empty, except for a single transmission from Admiral Morrison. Commander Vexthar. Morrison's voice came through clearly. You wanted to see what humans are capable of when threatened. We are about to show you. Vexthar laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Your pathetic species has had a month to realize its situation. Where are your surrender ships? We don't have any, Morrison replied calmly. We have something better. The first human attack came from 12 different directions at once. Small, fast ships emerged from hiding spots throughout the asteroid belt. They moved unlike anything Vexthar had seen before, darting and weaving like insects. Impossible, Vexthar muttered. Our sensors showed empty space. Captain Amy Rodriguez led the first wave of attackers. Her ship, Hornet, was barely the size of a Zephyrian fighter, but it carried weapons designed specifically to hurt alien vessels. Behind her flew 50 more ships just like it. Remember, Amy told her pilots, hit and run. Don't try to be heroes. We're not here to fight fair. The human ships opened fire with weapons that confused the Zephyrian computers. Instead of steady energy beams, they used rapid pulses that made the alien shields flicker and fail. Kinetic rounds followed, simple metal slugs moving at incredible speed. Their weapons are primitive, reported a Zephyrian officer, but they're hitting us. The aliens tried to respond with their superior firepower, but the human ships were too small and too fast. They scattered like leaves in the wind when fired upon, then regrouped to attack from new angles. Commander Troy Jackson led a special group of volunteers and converted cargo ships. Each vessel carried a fusion warhead designed to overload Zephyrian shield generators. The pilots had all lost family in the first attack. They knew this was a one-way mission. For Luna Base 7, Troy said quietly as he aimed his ship at the nearest alien cruiser. The suicide ships struck like hammers. Fusion. Explosions rippled through space, temporarily blinding sensors and knocking out alien defensive systems. In those crucial seconds of confusion, more human ships poured through the gaps. Major Carol Thompson commanded a wing of stealth bombers that had been hiding near Jupiter for 3 days. While the aliens focused on the frontal assault, Carol's ship slipped close to the Zephyrian flagship. Target their communication array, Carol ordered. If we can cut their coordination, they can't work together. The stealth attack was surgical and precise. Human bombs, small but perfectly placed, destroyed the alien command systems. Suddenly, Vexthar could not talk to his other ships. The organized Zephyrian fleet became a collection of confused individual vessels. What is happening? Vexthar demanded, but his officers had no answers. Their computers showed impossible things. Ships that should have been destroyed kept fighting. Weapons that should not work were tearing through their hulls. Admiral Morrison watched the battle from his command ship. He had studied every war in human history, from ancient naval battles to modern space combat. He understood that winning meant more than just destroying enemy ships. It meant breaking their will to fight. Phase 2, Morrison ordered. Begin the herding operation. Human ships suddenly changed tactics. Instead of attacking directly, they began driving the alien vessels toward a specific area of space near Jupiter. The Zephyrians, confused by the loss of communication, followed what seemed like escape routes. They were flying directly into a trap. Captain Steve Barnes waited near Jupiter with humanity's heaviest ships. These vessels had been built in secret, using technology stolen from alien wreckage. They were still smaller than Zephyrian dreadnoughts, but they packed weapons designed to exploit every weakness humans had discovered. Let them get close, Steve told his gunners. We only get one chance at this. The fleeing Zephyrian ships approached Jupiter's gravity well, thinking they could use the planet's mass to help their escape. Instead, they found themselves caught between human pursuit ships and Steve's hidden fleet. Now, Steve ordered. The heavy human ships opened fire with everything they had, energy weapons designed to pulse at exactly the right frequency to collapse Zephyrian shields, kinetic rounds that could punch through alien armor, most devastating of all, gravity bombs that used Jupiter's own mass as a weapon. Impossible, Vexthar whispered as he watched his fleet being systematically destroyed. They are primitives. Their technology is inferior. But human technology was not inferior anymore, it was different. Where Zephyrian weapons were designed for overwhelming power, human weapons were designed for precision and surprise. Where alien tactics relied on superior force, human tactics relied on deception and speed. The battle raged for 18 hours. Zephyrian ships tried to fight back, but they could not adapt to human methods. Their computers were programmed to fight enemies who followed standard military doctrine. Humans did not follow any doctrine except victory. Captain Lisa Grant, flying her rebuilt ship Defiant, led a group of damaged human vessels against a Zephyrian cruiser that was trying to escape. Her ship was barely holding together, but she refused to let the aliens retreat. They came to our home and killed our people, Lisa told her crew. They don't get to leave. The final moments of the battle were decisive. Commander Vexthar, his flagship crippled and his fleet destroyed, made one last attempt to ram Admiral Morrison's command ship. It was an act of desperation by a commander who could not accept defeat. Morrison saw the alien ship coming and made a choice that would be remembered forever. Instead of dodging, he flew directly at the Zephyrian flagship. At the last second, he fired every weapon his ship had directly into the alien vessel's bridge. Both ships were destroyed in the collision, but Morrison had achieved his goal. The last Zephyrian commander was dead, and the invasion fleet was completely annihilated. Captain Sam Collins, flying his scout ship Shadowrunner, sent the final report to Earth. All alien vessels destroyed. No survivors. Repeat, no survivors. The news spread across Earth in minutes. Humans had done the impossible. They had defeated a superior alien force through courage, cleverness, and absolute determination. The species that was supposed to surrender had instead destroyed their attackers completely. But Admiral Morrison's sacrifice was not forgotten. His last transmission, recorded by his ship's computer, was played on every human world. They came here to make us an example. Instead, we have made them one. Let the galaxy know that humans do not surrender, we do not bow, we fight. President Carter stood before the cameras once again, her face showing both grief for the fallen and pride for the victory. Today we have proven something important, she said. Not just to ourselves, but to any who would threaten peaceful people. The Zephyrian Empire thought we were weak. They thought we would break easily. They were wrong. Carter paused, looking directly into the camera. But this is not over. The Zephyrians have more ships, more worlds, more weapons. They will come again, and next time they will be ready for us. So we must be ready for them. Around the solar system, human ships gathered the wreckage of the alien fleet. Every piece of technology would be studied. Every weapon would be copied and improved. Every tactical lesson would be learned. The Zephyrians had struck first, expecting quick victory. Instead, they had given humans exactly what they needed, proof that the aliens could be beaten. Now humanity knew their enemies' strengths and weaknesses. The war was far from over, but the tide had turned. Humans were no longer the prey. They had become the hunters. Omega Station hung in space like a metal moon, bristling with weapons and surrounded by the largest Zephyrian fleet ever assembled. It was the last stronghold of an empire that had once ruled dozens of star systems. Now, it was their final refuge. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Retribution, studying the tactical displays. The station was 10 times larger than any human-built structure. Its defenses included energy shields, missile launchers, and particle beam cannons that could destroy ships from incredible distances. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Ben Clark, "we're detecting over 200 alien ships around the station. They've pulled everything they have left to defend this place." Jake nodded grimly. Intelligence reports suggested that Omega Station contained the last Zephyrian government officials, their remaining military leadership, and the shipyards that built their war fleets. If humans could capture or destroy the station, the Empire would truly be finished. They know this is their last chance, Jake told his officers. They'll fight harder than ever before. The human fleet gathered in the shadow of a dead planet, preparing for what everyone knew would be the final battle of the war. Ships that had survived battles across a dozen star systems checked their weapons one last time. Crews that had fought together for months prepared for the most dangerous mission yet. General Kate Phillips coordinated the ground assault plans from her command ship. Marine units led by Colonel Nina Price would need to board the station and capture its critical systems. But first, the fleet had to break through the alien defenses. The station's shields are powered by fusion reactors in the central core, reported Dr. Alex Murphy after studying reconnaissance data. If we can overload those reactors, the entire defensive grid will collapse. Captain Amy Rodriguez commanded the fighter squadrons that would lead the attack. Her pilots had learned their trade in the asteroid belt, dodging rocks and mining equipment. Now they would dodge alien weapons fire while trying to punch holes in enemy formations. Remember, Amy told her pilots, we're not trying to destroy everything. We just need to open a path for the heavy ships. The battle began with a massive human missile barrage. Hundreds of warheads launched from ships spread across thousands of kilometers, converged on Omega Station from multiple directions. The Zephyrian defenders shot down most of them, but a few got through, weakening the station's outer shields. First wave complete, reported Captain Lisa Grant from Defiant 2. Minimal damage to the target, but their point defense systems are showing stress. Captain Troy Jackson led the second wave, consisting of fast attack ships carrying experimental weapons. These vessels darted between the alien defenders, too quick to target effectively, while launching precision strikes against specific systems. Their command coordination is breaking down, Troy observed as Zephyrian ships began firing at targets that human vessels had already abandoned. They're not adapting to our tactics. But the aliens still had advantages. Their ships were larger and more heavily armed than human vessels. Their station-based weapons had ranges that exceeded anything in the human fleet. Most dangerous of all, they were fighting with the desperation of a species facing extinction. Captain Steve Barnes commanded the heavy assault ships that formed the backbone of the human attack. His vessels had been built specifically for this battle, carrying armor thick enough to withstand alien weapons and guns powerful enough to crack station defenses. All ships focus fire on Section 7, Steve ordered. Intelligence says that's where their main shield generators are located. The concentrated human barrage hammered against the station's defenses. Energy beams and kinetic rounds struck the same area repeatedly, gradually overwhelming the alien shields. When the protective barrier finally collapsed, human ships poured through the gap. Colonel Nina Price led the first boarding parties onto Omega Station. Her Marines fought through corridors designed for creatures larger than humans, using their smaller size and greater agility to outmaneuver alien defenders. The station's internal layout follows standard Zephyrian design, Nina reported as her troops advanced toward the command center. But they've added extra security measures. Dr. Murphy had prepared the Marines for this. His studies of alien psychology revealed that Zephyrians became increasingly rigid under stress, following predetermined defense plans even when those plans no longer made sense. They'll defend the command center first, Murphy had predicted. Hit the life support systems instead. Force them to choose between protecting their leaders and protecting their air supply. The strategy worked. Zephyrian defenders, faced with multiple threats they had not planned for, could not decide which target was most important. Human Marines used this confusion to capture key systems throughout the station. Captain Sam Collins led special forces teams that targeted the station's communication arrays. By cutting off contact between different sections of the facility, he made it impossible for the alien defenders to coordinate their response. Station command is blind, Sam reported. They don't know what's happening in half their own facility. The battle raged for 7 days. Human ships continued to pound the station's defenses while Marines fought room by room through the interior. Zephyrian resistance was fierce but disorganized. Without clear communication and unified command, their superior numbers meant nothing. On the 5th day, Captain Amy Rodriguez's fighters broke through to the station's shipyards. What they found, there shocked everyone. Dozens of half-built warships, each one larger and more advanced than anything the Zephyrians had used before. They were building a new fleet, Amy reported. These ships would have been powerful enough to threaten entire star systems. Jake Morrison made the decision to destroy the shipyards completely. Human demolition teams led by experts who had once worked in mining and construction placed charges throughout the construction bays. The resulting explosions were visible from orbit. No more Zephyrian dreadnoughts will ever be built, Jake announced to his fleet. On the 7th day, Colonel Nina Price's Marines reached the station's command center. They found the last Zephyrian, leaders huddled around a massive tactical display, still trying to coordinate a defense that no longer existed. Surrender, Nina told them in their own language. Your empire is finished. Your fleets are destroyed. Your worlds are free. The alien commander, an elderly Zephyrian named Kexvar, looked at the human marine with something that might have been respect. You fight like no species we have encountered, Kexvar said slowly. We studied your military capabilities for 3 years. We saw weak ships and primitive weapons. We never saw this. Nina removed her helmet, showing her human face to the alien leader. You saw our technology. You never bothered to understand our nature. The surrender of Omega Station marked the end of the Zephyrian Empire. The government that had ruled dozens of worlds for 1,000 years was now prisoner of a species they had dismissed as insignificant primitives. But Jake Morrison was not interested in ruling over the aliens. Standing in the captured command center, he sent a message to every corner of the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire is finished. Any government, organization, or individual who chooses to follow their path of conquest and oppression will face the same fate. Humanity offers friendship to those who seek peace, but for those who prey upon the innocent, we offer only justice. The message was received by hundreds of different species across thousands of star systems. For the first time in centuries, civilizations that had lived in fear of Zephyrian expansion could plan for a future without terror. President Helen Carter received the news of victory in her office on Earth. Around her, advisors and military leaders celebrated the end of the war. But Helen understood that this was not truly an ending. It was a beginning. What do we do now? Asked General Phillips. We've destroyed their empire, but that leaves a power vacuum. Other species will try to fill it. Helen had been thinking about this question for months. We don't try to rule over anyone, but we make sure that no one else can become what the Zephyrians were. We protect the weak and support the peaceful. Dr. Murphy had already begun working with representatives from the liberated worlds, helping them establish new governments and defense forces. The goal was not to create human colonies, but to ensure that the former Zephyrian territories could defend themselves. Every species we've freed wants to establish relations with Earth, Murphy reported. They see us as liberators, not conquerors. Captain Lisa Grant was among the last to return to Earth, her ship carrying the complete records of Zephyrian crimes. The documents revealed the full scope of the Empire's brutality. Entire species enslaved, worlds stripped of resources, billions of innocent beings killed to feed alien expansion. They were monsters, Lisa said simply, and we stopped them. The war that had begun with a surprise attack on Luna Base 7 was over. Humanity had not just survived the Zephyrian assault, they had completely destroyed the empire that launched it. The species that had seemed weak and primitive had proven to be the galaxy's most effective force for justice. In the years that followed, historians would mark this period as the end of the Age of Empires and the beginning of something new. The Zephyrians had struck first, seeking to make an example of a species they saw as helpless. 6 months after the Battle of Jupiter, the first human war fleet left Earth's solar system. The destination was Zephyr Prime, the alien homeworld 12 light-years away. Leading the fleet was the Retribution, humanity's first true dreadnought. Captain Jake Morrison, brother of the fallen Admiral Morrison, commanded the massive warship. It was built using the best of human engineering combined with captured Zephyrian technology. The ship was half the size of an alien dreadnought, but twice as deadly. Today we take the war to them, Jake announced to his crew. My brother died, showing these aliens that humans don't surrender. Now we show them that humans don't forget. The human fleet was unlike anything seen before in space. Fast attack ships flew alongside heavy cruisers. Stealth bombers traveled next to cargo vessels, converted into missile platforms. Every ship carried weapons designed specifically to fight Zephyrians. Captain Ben Clark led the advanced scouts in modified ships that could travel faster than anything the aliens had built. His mission was to reach Zephyrian space first and gather intelligence about enemy defenses. Their homeworld is protected by orbital stations and a fleet of 50 warships, Ben reported after his first reconnaissance mission. But here's the interesting part. Most of their fleet is gone. Dr. Alex Murphy, now serving as the fleet's chief scientist, studied Ben's data with growing excitement. The aliens were preparing a massive counterattack against Earth. They had pulled ships from every corner of their empire to build an invasion force. They're making the same mistake we did, Alex explained to the fleet commanders. They're leaving their home base weakly defended while preparing to attack ours. General Kate Phillips smiled grimly as she studied the tactical reports. Then we hit them while their defenses are down. But this time, we're not just destroying ships. We're ending their ability to make war. The human fleet approached Zephyr Prime using a route that should have been impossible. Instead of following normal space lanes, they traveled through a dangerous region filled with unstable stars and gravity anomalies. Human ships, smaller and more maneuverable than alien vessels, could navigate hazards that would destroy larger ships. They'll never expect us to come this way, said Captain Amy Rodriguez, now commanding a squadron of heavy fighters. Their own ships can't use this route. When the human fleet finally emerged near Zephyr Prime, they found the alien homeworld almost undefended. Most of the orbital stations were empty. Only a few patrol ships guarded the approaches to the planet. It's almost too easy, muttered Captain Lisa Grant from her ship, Defiant 2. I don't like it. But Colonel Nina Price, leading the 1st Human Marine units, was ready for anything. Her soldiers had trained for months to fight on alien worlds. They carried weapons designed to work in different atmospheres and gravity conditions. Remember, Nina told her troops, we're not here to conquer these people. We're here to make sure they can never attack innocent worlds again. The assault on Zephyr Prime began with precision strikes against the planet's communication networks. Captain Sam Collins, flying an improved stealth ship, led teams that destroyed satellite relays and ground-based transmitters. Within hours, the alien capital was cut off from the rest of their empire. They can't call for help, Sam reported, and they can't coordinate their defenses. Human Marines landed in small groups all across the planet's main continent. Instead of massive invasions, they used quick strikes against specific targets, military academies where alien officers were trained, weapons factories that supplied their fleets, government buildings where war plans were made. Dr. Murphy had spent months studying Zephyrian society and psychology. He discovered that the aliens had a rigid command structure that collapsed when the top leaders were removed. Unlike humans who could adapt and improvise, Zephyrians became helpless without clear orders from above. Take out their command centers first, Murphy advised the Marine commanders. Without leaders, their soldiers won't know what to do. The strategy worked perfectly. Zephyrian military units, trained to follow orders without question, became confused and ineffective when their commanders were captured or killed. Human soldiers, taught to think for themselves, easily outmaneuvered alien defenders who could only follow predetermined plans. Captain Troy Jackson, who had survived his suicide mission at Jupiter, now led a special forces unit that struck at the heart of the Zephyrian government. His team infiltrated the capital city and captured the Alien Leadership Council while they were meeting to discuss the Earth invasion. Surrender, Troy told the alien leaders in their own language, which human linguists had decoded from captured records. Your empire is finished. The siege of Zephyr Prime lasted only 3 days. Human forces controlled every major city and military installation. The alien government was in human custody. Most importantly, the plans for the invasion of Earth were captured and destroyed. But Jake Morrison was not satisfied with just capturing the alien homeworld. Intelligence reports showed that Zephyrian fleets were still active in other star systems. The Empire had ruled over dozens of conquered worlds for centuries. Those fleets would eventually return to find their capital occupied. We need to destroy Their ability to make war, Jake told his staff officers. That means hunting down every fleet, every base, every shipyard in their territory. General Phillips coordinated the expansion of human operations throughout Zephyrian space. The fleet, divided into smaller groups, each targeting a different alien stronghold. It was a dangerous strategy that spread human forces thin, but it was the only way to prevent the aliens from regrouping. Captain Carol Thompson led the assault on Krextar, a fortress world where Zephyrian military officers had been trained for 3 centuries. Her ships destroyed not just the military base, but the entire educational system that produced enemy commanders. No more alien officers will graduate from this place, Carol reported after the successful attack. We've destroyed their textbooks, their training equipment, everything they used to teach warfare. Meanwhile, Captain Steve Barnes hunted down Zephyrian fleets that were trying to return to their home territory. His ships used hit-and-run tactics learned from the Jupiter battle, striking fast and disappearing before the aliens could respond. They keep trying to fight us like we're other Zephyrians, Steve observed. They can't adapt to our methods. Dr. Murphy made another crucial discovery while studying captured alien records. The Zephyrian Empire had enslaved or destroyed 47 different species over the past 1,000 years. Billions of innocent beings had died to feed the Empire's expansion. These aren't just our enemies, Murphy reported to President Carter over long-range communications. They're the enemies of every peaceful species in this part of the galaxy. This information changed everything. Human forces began contacting the survivors of Zephyrian conquest, offering weapons and training to local resistance movements. Species that had been enslaved for generations suddenly found themselves with powerful allies. The liberation of the Kepler system became a model for future operations. Human ships arrived to find the local population in rebellion against their Zephyrian overseers. Captain Ben Clark provided air support while Colonel Nina Price's Marines fought alongside alien freedom fighters on the ground. We're not conquering these worlds, Nina explained to her soldiers. We're liberating them. There's a difference. The difference was important. Unlike the Zephyrians, humans did not want to rule over other species. They wanted to destroy the empire that had threatened Earth and ensure it could never rise again. As Gentai, the campaign continued. More alien species joined the fight against their former oppressors. The Zephyrian Empire, which had seemed invincible for 1,000 years, began to collapse as its subject peoples rose in revolt. But the war was not over. Intelligence reports indicated that the largest Zephyrian fleet was gathering at Omega Station, a massive military installation on the edge of their territory. It would be the aliens' last stand, and the most dangerous battle yet. They're making their final play, Jake Morrison told his fleet commanders. Everything they have left will be waiting for us at Omega Station. Captain Lisa Grant checked her weapons one more time. Then we'd better make sure we're ready for them. The hunt was nearing its end, but the most difficult prey was still waiting. The humans had proven they could defeat Zephyrian fleets and capture alien worlds. Now they would discover if they could destroy an empire that had terrorized the galaxy for a millennium.